Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Sorry.
Good enough. Hello. I like that, though. That might get reused over and over again now, unfortunately.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Right. You're listening to Time to Lean, and here's a song, episode 33, with special guest Greg K. from Utah. I was at Utah once, and I have to say they have one of the best salt lakes in the whole United States.
Okay, now I'll sample you. Hi, everyone. We have a special guest this week. It's Greg K. Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Hi, Greg.
See, I did it again.
Good. I'm glad that was a better
practicing.
one. I have a feeling he's practiced that for right.
It's true.
So, should we just jump in? No, we need a cold opening. Matt P says he likes the cold openings because he can kind of ease into it.
And he's one of our 3 listeners.
Right.
Well, you better do what he says then.
We have hundreds of downloads, but I don't know.
Well, they download it once, and that's it. Or they subscribe and forget to unsubscribe, kind of like a bad, streaming service or something. And then they're going to call us up, how do I cancel this thing?
I don't know. Talk to tech support. I'll give you the number next week. So, Greg, why don't you give us as I say to our guests, give us a little elevator speech about who you is.
Oh, who am I? I feel like I should start singing a song from Les Miserables now. Greg Kratz. I'm a native of Yankton, South Dakota. Go Bucks. Very politically incorrect mascot there. Graduate of South Dakota State University. And of the University of Cardiff in Wales, and I currently live in Salt Lake City area, in a suburb of Salt Lake City known as Midvale, with my wife and 4 children.
Okay, now wait, I don't think I knew about the Wales thing.
Oh,
did I?
Save the whales. Only you can answer that. I don't know.
He goes by Whale Rider. No.
No, Greg, I needed you to tell me if I knew you went to Wales.
Oh, yes.
No, that's really cool.
Know.
I must have. We're at that age where memory is always a confusing thing. But speaking of memories,
I don't even remember your name.
I'm infamous in very small circles.
So that means more than famous, as I recall from the Three Amigos.
Right. Or is it penultimate famous? No. Okay. Penta-famous. Yes, so we do edit this later, thankfully. But we always say that, and then sometimes we don't.
We like to interview fascinating people from all over the world who just happen to all originate in South Dakota. I don't know how it works. But
most of the famous people in the world do originate in South Dakota, as it turns out.
Tom Brokaw.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was actually a Yankton guy, just like me, truth be told.
Who else?
That woman from Dukes of Hazzard,
Catherine Bach, who
that's right.
I'm related to Catherine Bach.
Of course,
that's actually one of our old topic lists.
Did we never talk about that? We should. You know what? We should all talk about famous South Dakota people. No, I'm related. Okay, I won. Okay, fine. It wasn't a competition, really. No. Anyway. But so it's weird because I went to college with Greg at SDSU, and but then somehow also found out that Greg. Well, we'll get into this later, but Greg was in the McDonald's band with John Knowles, and that's kind of a big deal because only two people from the whole state of each state are chosen. To be in the McDonald's band.
We're the chosen ones.
And for some reason that year, South Dakota was particularly big on euphoniums. I don't know why. They both played that instrument.
Yes.
There. Okay, I guess we're done. Good night. No.
Excellent. This is better than I expected.
I find that in life it's good to keep your expectations exceedingly low.
Oh, okay.
I may have mentioned the McDonald's band, but I doubt I went into much detail.
We all know how much the world is clamoring to hear about McDonald's band.
Well, I thought I thought it would be funny. Not funny. Maybe it will be funny. I hope a little.
This is not funny at all.
No, this is terrible. I was hoping, because we talk about, every now and then we talk about the old days in South Dakota as expats, and we interview fellow expats.
Because no one actually lives there anymore.
No, they've all left. No, some people do.
We all talk, yeah. So I guess I'll make a quick introduction of what the McDonald's All-American High School Band was. It is a past tense. They no longer do it.
No, is that because
they don't have any money? They can't.
Wilford Scott or
Willard Scott?
Willard Scott. That's because of him, right?
Most things are.
Yeah,
because of him.
He got us canceled.
Cancel
No,
culture.
I could have prepared for this, but I didn't. But it's. I think the year that we did it was the 20th year.
Sure, let's say
right?
it was. I think so.
It was some special year where it had been like a 20th anniversary year.
Well, it was special, all right.
Because I think we got an extra pin to put on our jackets.
Oh.
Perhaps you're correct. I don't recall that, but I'm sure I still have that pin somewhere if that is in fact true.
I'm going to go with
We'll
that.
have to look at the picture.
The 20th year, so
Okay, I think I do have a 20th year McDonald's band pin.
I must have one somewhere.
Signed by Wilford Brimley.
And Ronald McDonald. Actually, I'm looking at the pin right now. McDonald's
same.
All-American. It was the 20th anniversary.
Okay,
I have it right here. I'm looking at
lost
the
my
pin
memory
this
yet.
moment. Brilliant.
There you go. See? So we know it had been around for 20 years when 1986 hit.
So that means it started in
66,
1966. A
Before
tumultuous
we were
year.
all born.
Okay, fine.
It's true. That's amazing. Yeah. As Phil mentioned, they picked 2 kids from each state in the union.
And Puerto Rico?
See, that's
Yeah.
what I don't remember. Yeah,
We did. I think they did. And then I think we got
Good.
2 from District of Columbia also.
I
So
support
100,
that.
104?
104 of us. I think that's correct, yeah.
And they were all playing the euphonium. It was weird.
Yeah, it was a band
So-
of just
so-
euphoniums.
DC and Puerto Rico get more representation in the McDonald's band than they do in our government. I mean, what does that say?
Which seems completely appropriate, really, if you think about
actually.
Well, if they had more euphonium players, I don't know.
Whatever it takes to get more euphoniums out in the world. if it takes selling our high school souls to McDonald's, then
What
We're all
is the
for
other
it.
word for euphonium?
baritone horn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that didn't catch on.
Euphonium sounds a lot cooler.
Oh, yeah.
As the names of band instruments go, which I guess is setting the bar pretty low, frankly. But
My late father insisted there was a difference, technically, between them, of course.
there is, actually.
Yeah, there actually is.
Well, what is it?
It's the size
Well, what's
of
the
the bore.
difference? The
Right.
size of the bore?
He is a bore.
It's like the difference between a trumpet and a cornet.
Okay.
Phil doesn't know that either.
Well, I'm learning all kinds of things
It's
today.
it's one of the tubes.
I was in
Makes up the
choir.
instrument, then yeah, look it up.
I
There's a
was a
slight
bass
difference.
because I had a larger esophagus or something. I don't know what. No, I don't even know the name nomenclature there.
So this band, at least the year we were doing it, you would send in an audition tape with, I assume, the approval of your parents and teacher, and along with
Rap.
an
You wouldn't want
an
a
essay.
rogue musician being part of it. That would
No,
be
I
bad.
wonder if people would randomly send stuff in.
And you send the tape like wrapped in a French fries, McDonald's French fries wrapper.
With a $100 bill. That was my secret.
They still had those nice clamshell boxes, I think, back then. The styrofoam stuff, for the Big Macs. I think you had to use
the
that.
famous
to-
McDLT.
exactly.
And those had like twice as much styrofoam.
Exactly.
'Cause they had the extra compartment to keep the lettuce.
Keep the hot side hot and the cold side cold, and the planet even deader than it would be otherwise.
The good old days of styrofoam.
It was the golden age of styrofoam. Oh, there's our title right there.
I'll probably. I don't think I'll write a song about that, but maybe.
You know, we're desperate enough. It might be the song. I don't know. Or how big is your bore? Or
boar hunting.
We're mining rich territory or rich material here.
Well, we're deep in something.
So the band, so you'd send the tape and an essay, which is a big reason why my brother and I got in. I think because my mom was really good at writing these.
Your mom wrote it.
Well, she did. You know,
I bet Greg wrote his own.
She really knew how to make us sound great on paper.
Well, they're sons of Jack Knowles.
I have no recollection of writing an essay, but I'm sure I must have had to.
Well, you're a writer.
Well,
a journalist.
Yeah, you
trained as.
So they would pick all these kids, and I assume that they did partially weigh it on the instrumentation needs of the band.
Evidently.
And, they would you get chosen, and it was a big deal. At least when I got in, the local franchisee, Greg and I were talking about this yesterday on our test call. The Rapid City one, whoever owned the McDonald's empire of Rapid City, he bought me a set of luggage, and
wow,
I had a card with $100 bill in it, which, boy, that seemed really amazing.
Gee whiz. What the
things
heck?
like that, and you know the mayor of Rapid City.
Who was it at the time? Art Linkletter?
I bet it was Art LaCroix.
Oh no, LaCroix water. He's the famous LaCroix water empire.
He must have.
I had no idea.
Did you get it? Did you get anything? Did you get anything, Greg?
I did
French fries.
get something. I realized later that what I got was pretty much a slap in the face. But my local franchise gave me one of those little, like, $3 plastic folding alarm clocks, and that was it. And I remember thinking, even as I got it, well, gee, thanks. And then I got out with all the other 103 people who got luggage and cash and thought, well, my people in Yankton,
it's not that funny.
They're just incredibly cheap.
It's sad, Phil.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
Greg was crushed.
Toward me.
I got a luggage full of cash, and I wasn't even in the band.
That was the Burger King choir. You guys got all the drug money or whatever.
Yeah, and both South Dakotans were bases.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're all recovering from
I got
colds.
a travel alarm, and everyone else got luggage and money and
hey, but it folded.
Maybe
like
you beat out the
vacations to
guy's
Europe and
kid
all
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what the people from other states got. See, this would be interesting.
No, Greg just said he heard other people. We were all apparently comparing our swag.
Well,
So
Yankton
I think
didn't
he
score
felt
so well.
like he'd been ripped off.
Yeah, most people
Yeah.
got closer to what John got and didn't have incredibly cheap people like I apparently did. So, you know.
Yeah. All right.
So we do that and have a big celebration and all that, and we would the whole thing went quite a while. We'd show up the week Thanksgiving week.
It's a big deal.
And we would all be put up in this fancy New York City hotel, where we would spend day after day rehearsing in conference rooms or ballrooms or something.
That's right.
Hookers and
for
blow.
the Macy's parade, learning all these songs, which we were supposed to have learned before we got there.
But did not.
But John didn't.
None of us. I don't think. I didn't. Not only learned but memorized.
Yeah, that wasn't happening. Well, I remember,
I wasn't the only one who didn't do that.
No, I remember those rehearsals too. It was just like for the brass players, especially, because I don't think any of us were used to playing that many hours of a day. Your lips were basically held together by Carmex by the end of the day. I mean, we had.
They
those
had
little
this stuff they would hand out like a drug, to keep you going.
So it was like Carmex Plus.
Was it called Tannic? Was that? I should look it up.
It's a thing.
It's probably illegal.
It had
some kind of thing you put on your
codeine.
It was like an old Ronald McDonald, who'd smoked a few too many packs. He's like, "Here, put some of this on your lips. You'll be fine."
Yeah, you'll get through it, man.
The Ronald.
And we would do that, and we when Thanksgiving Day arrived, we would have to go to Rockefeller Center very, very early in the morning. It was like 3 or 4 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, it was brutally early.
So that we could be on the Today Show.
Oh, boy.
With your favorite Willard Scott.
Mm-hmm. When we were there in 30 Rock, they had us standing on right by what's the big gold statue? Is that like an angel or something? Was it supposed to be there?
Yeah, the big gold statue. I don't know what it's called, but you see it all the time.
Maybe the narrator will help.
The sculpture is called Prometheus, created by famed American sculptor Paul Manship.
Hopefully, I'm sure. And then there was water there, and it was frozen. So I remember it was like we were standing on ice with our instruments, waiting to make Willard Scott look good.
And we had to wait quite a while in the cold.
Well, yeah, he had to get ready. Can you imagine?
And then right on cue, at a certain point, they'd have like a 10-second opportunity or window when we could play something, and they'd give us the cue, and we'd have to put up our cold instruments and play.
With your Triamex lips?
Oh, we were past that, yeah. Yeah, and then he'd come out and do a brief segment in front of the band.
It's going to be, I want to say hi to all the 100-year-olds in Alabama.
He'd do his usual shit with the weather and right in front of us on TV.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of sucked, but it was also amazing.
And also,
it was a good description of life, actually. Kind of sucks, but it's also amazing.
It's horrible, but it's over too fast. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
But also, you were ripped away from your families, thrown over into the big city
all week, and
on Thanksgiving.
And then Thanksgiving we'd do the Macy's parade.
And then did you have a nice Thanksgiving dinner afterwards? No.
I think we had to get on a plane and go right to Chicago, right?
Yeah, we went to Chicago for a different parade. Where they put us up at the corporate headquarters in
Hamburger U.
Yep, Hamburger U. Yeah.
So you went to Chicago to Hamburger U and had dinner there?
I don't remember the exact.
You must have eaten.
Schedule.
Yeah, at Hamburger U, I think they had like the concierge room where you could go and get like McDonald cookies at any hour of the day, which seemed like a great deal to the guy who got a travel alarm clock, but probably everyone else who got all the cash was like thinking they still were getting gypped.
And that trip was also the first time I became aware of the term hospitality suite.
Yes, that's what I meant. Hospitality suite.
And that was in the New York hotel. You'd go up there and they'd have all this.
Oh, you're right.
Snack food, and it was like, wow, there's this magical place you could just go visit.
Did they have a manager's reception?
Not for us.
No.
And
hey, all the Shirley Temples you can drink, kids.
So we did the 2 parades, and we eventually went home, and then after Christmas we flew to Scottsdale, Arizona.
What?
And there were 2 trips in Phoenix, and we did a parade there.
Fiesta Bowl parade.
That's right. And then after that, we went and marched in the Rose Bowl parade.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. I think I even watched that.
And the Rose Parade was that again. We had to get up super early.
That's right.
And I remember they like rousted us because we flew to California on New Year's Eve. They let us stay up and had like a party for us until like the stroke of midnight. That said, go to bed, but you have to be up again at 3 a.m. because we had to line up at like 4 a.m. for the parade. And I remember they got us all up at 3 a.m. and we were sitting down in the lobby of the hotel, and everyone was trying to sleep, except I had the great good fortune of being sitting next to 2 drummers, and of course, to a drummer, everything in the world is a drum, and so they were drumming on the floor right next to me.
Oh, that's the worst.
For the whole time we were there.
Yeah.
It was just brutal.
That parade was obscenely long.
Yeah, it's like 7.5 miles.
Yeah, it's so long, and it was. Of course, it's warm out, and you have to play Stars and Stripes Forever 1,000 times.
Uh-huh.
Which that shoots your lip too, actually.
I actually fell asleep during that parade while marching. I've told my kids this story. We were because you'd have to wait for all the. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You'd have to wait for all the people ahead of you to do their little spiel, on TV. And at one point we were waiting, and I was at parade rest, and I woke up, and everyone else was about 4 steps ahead of me. I was like, well, apparently we're marching again.
Yeah. Experience.
Wow.
And the people that ran the band were these guys from Florida A&M University, I think.
The Ukraine.
Yeah. They were, yeah. Little did we know. No. These guys were hardcore college marching band guys.
Yeah, the best.
They were really great, actually. I felt pretty inadequate as far as marching band skills.
Yeah, I was like, I do not belong here. I'm guessing, I hadn't really thought much about the fact that they probably based who got in on what the instrumentation they needed was, but I think probably being a euphonium player was a huge advantage as opposed to being like a trumpet player.
Mm-hmm. Remember that, kids.
Because I think we had 10 euphoniums in our... Did we have 10 euphoniums? Or 8? Do you remember?
Yeah, I can't... It might have been 8, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody goes for the trumpet.
So I'm thinking now that the only way I got in is probably that they had 8 people try out on euphonium, and they were like, well, I guess.
Well, I guess... Well, thank you, guys. and these marching band guys were just... They were very picky about the steps and the formations, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't have to do that at our high schools, but this was a different level. And most of the music we played were custom arrangements that somebody else from that school made that were pretty challenging, and was just really really amazing experience, though.
Yeah, it was. I remember that, because in the Macy's parade, not only are you marching forever and having all the New Yorkers yell at you like, hey, give me a Big Mac.
Yeah, right.
Then, you remember that? Like every time you'd stop, people would be yelling.
Oh, I totally do.
But then when you get in front of
that's like play Freebird.
You get totally heckled, yeah.
Yeah.
But then when you got in front of Macy's, you had to do your little performance. That's the thing that gets on TV. And
yeah, you stop there and make a little show.
Yeah.
Was it carpeted there?
No. Oh no.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't they carpet it now. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm out of the loop.
Some of it looks about the same when I see clips of it on TV now, and some of it is just gigantic floats with celebrities lip syncing Frozen 2 or some other whatever's big that year. So it's mostly advertising, I think. But
so wait a minute, the McDonald's band is no longer because they didn't have enough money.
No, I was making a joke.
Okay.
That poor McDonald's didn't have the cash.
They thought they diverted the funds somewhere else.
I think they needed to double the amount of money they spent on the McDonald's All-American High School basketball game, and so the band had to go.
Well, that's much more American than a band.
Way more.
I don't know. The Old American Musical, that one with the trombones, not euphoniums, that's Old American.
You're talking about the Music Man, Phil?
Sure, that's Old American. You got to have a band. That's American.
Didn't they actually? Speaking of musicals, I think they had us go to a musical while we were in New York.
Oh, that's right. We went to a Broadway show.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I forgot how I blacked
we went
that
to
one.
Big River, wasn't it? Wasn't it Big River?
Not one of the big ones.
No, did you see Big River?
I think
we
it was
did
Big
see
River.
That one. Yeah, you're right.
Wow. Okay. I wonder if that's when it first was a thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of it'll get revived one of these years, I'm sure.
They all do.
Never know. And we also went and we rehearsed.
Wow.
We actually got to drive through the Bronx to this National Guard Armory building.
That's right.
Rehearsed in there. And it seemed like such almost a foreign country to us on those buses.
It was, kind of.
Because strangely, South Dakota, like rural South Dakota and the Bronx, really do not have that much in common, as much as you would think.
Turns out, yeah.
They both have National Guard armories, though.
Well, that's a good point. Excellent point. You win again.
It brings us together, doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it did
national.
seem really peculiar. There's all sorts of great touristy things that we got to see. The Statue of Liberty and
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Oh,
And,
they took you all over the place.
yeah,
yeah.
they really did. It was a great trip. And that's why it's such a shame that they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, it really kind of stinks because it really was an amazing experience.
And I'm sure it was of good promotional value
Oh yeah,
for the company.
And I'll also say I think particularly for people from smaller states or provinces, no, not provinces, territories or whatever, and they didn't let them in. But it probably was more, well, I don't know what I'm saying here, but maybe even more valuable to somebody from Yankton, per se, than somebody from New York. I mean, I'm in New York, whoopee. But
yeah. I mean, it was for me. It was one of the first times I'd ever been on an airplane. In fact,
right,
for the first trip, for the New York trip, they had me fly out of Yankton's airport, which is not an impressive airport, especially back 100 years ago when this was. And
you probably had to walk up the stairs.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it was, around Thanksgiving time, so the weather in South Dakota is always gorgeous around that time of year. And so I'm on this little plane that has one seat on one side and two seats on the other. And I think a total of like 12 seats on the plane, I took that from Yankton to Omaha, and
Wow.
it like
To
scared
get on
the
a real
crap out of me.
plane.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And so before the next trip, I contacted him and said, could I just fly out of Omaha next time? Because flying out of Yankton, I'd rather drive to Omaha and fly
Yeah.
from there. So that's what I did.
They
for the next
actually
trip.
had a travel agency that took care of all this stuff.
Yeah, yep.
They
true.
do
Wow.
that, and they mailed you all the airline tickets.
My goodness.
Which seems, it seems kind of weird today, but
It's quaint.
Well, they couldn't email you. What would they do?
There
Hey,
was no
log
email.
on to the website and
Pony Express.
I had a
Which
telegram.
reminds me that one of the things, of course, we were in this group of people from literally all over the country, and one of the things I remember doing, and maybe Greg was in the middle of this too, or I'm making it up. I'm not sure, but some of the kids from the more urban parts of the country, East Coast or whatever, we'd be talking to them, and they'd say, "Oh, you're from South Dakota. That's really far out there," and blah blah blah. It's like, is it really like the old West out there and stuff? And,
Yeah.
And I and maybe Greg and other people from neighboring states, oh yeah, we do that. And one of us actually got a few of them convinced that we rode around on buffalo. And I think for a short time they bought it, like it was like that's our transportation.
I remember hearing that. I don't think I participated because I was not cool even for a band kid. So I don't think I wasn't cool enough to come up with fun stories to fool the urban kids. But
I think.
But I remember thinking it was quite
I
humorous.
think it was one of the guys from the Wyoming contingent and myself were trash talking or something, and it's like, oh yeah. And later on, of course, we're like, but yeah, it did seem way different.
Yeah.
Well, so Lee and I 100 years ago went to something called you learned about the government in Washington D.C. and South Dakota was paired with Puerto Rico, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, they gave us these. Did you guys get this little like letter of things not to say, or so basically it was like, don't do the shave and a haircut knock. Because that was the GIs in Puerto Rico did that for some I don't know what it was, but it had this whole list of things. Don't do this, and well, be careful about this. It was a sheet of paper that we had to before we went on this thing, and I don't know. It probably was ridiculous. But did you have any kind of like materials that you were given first, like to read? And well, no, this was people from every state, so they couldn't have narrowed
I know
it
what
down.
you mean, Phil. I don't think they had anything like that for the band.
Not that
I wonder
recall.
if I still have that. Oh God, that would be funny to look at that if I still had that sheet. But it was like a whole piece of paper of typed, and maybe mimeographed. I don't know, but I don't even know what that is. Of things that don't say this and don't do this because you might offend them. And I was like, wow, okay. But when you get there, it's like, I don't know. We had so much. It was fun that they paired South Dakota with Puerto Rico because we didn't. It was totally different. You could learn more. It seems
like
really.
A natural pairing.
Well, no, maybe not. But if we were paired with somebody from Wyoming for let's say if South Dakota and Wyoming go to this other place to learn about the government, I don't think I would have gotten as much out of it probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fine. Well, what other things came out of this? Well, Hamburger U, that was what was that again? That was like the managers would go there to learn how to manage a McDonald's.
Yeah, it was a management training.
It's just
campus.
a campus, set up outside Chicago. It was really nice, as I recall.
Is that still there?
We got to see all the different places where they had all the equipment that's used in the restaurants set up.
Right. Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah,
I
found
a little mock
kind of
restaurant set up. Yeah, it was interesting.
I still
don't
have
do that anymore, do they?
mug from Hamburger U.
Oh man, I wish
Does it
I
have
did.
Grimace on it?
What's that?
No, the Yankton kids didn't get the mug.
That's right.
I don't know if I
for the-
bought it or if they gave it to me. Yeah, it's a ceramic mug that says Hamburger U on it, I
You
think.
probably used some of your wads of cash you got from your franchisees.
Out of my suitcase.
That's right.
Did you get to meet Grimace? Grimace is like the best. Oh no, what was the Irish
Hamburger?
cousin of Grimace? The Irish cousin of Grimace
He's
was
the
on
one
one.
he'd always be around when the Shamrock Shake was coming out.
Yeah,
Phil,
yeah.
we've come full circle because I think in the first or second episode we ever recorded, we talked about this.
and I've forgotten again what the name was. See, okay,
It was probably
that's
like
sad.
Ogrimus or something like that, right?
Seamus O.
Seamus
Shells?
Ogrimus?
Seamus O. Shamrock. Shamrock O. Seamus. No, I don't know. It was something like that.
Wrong. It was Uncle O'Grimacy. And in a side note, Willard Scott played the original Ronald McDonald.
Well, okay, but then many years later, I met Greg at SDSU.
Well, yeah. So this is weird though, because then I went to Boise State, which is a whole different.
Oh,
interview.
I was in Boise State too.
Right.
I didn't meet you there.
But
though.
I was in the same city there. Los Angeles was my city at Boise State, and I was in the same city as Dave Dirksen,
Oh, Dave. Yeah.
who knew you guys.
Sure.
And then when Phil, when you and Dave came to South Dakota State, then I was actually Dave's. Dave was on the same floor as us in the dorms, so we met
Yeah.
Dave, and that's how I met you.
And Lee was
And Lee,
there on
yeah.
the same floor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you guys were there kind of a year before me. I was at Black Hill State for reasons I won't go into at this time. But then I went to SDSU, and then it was kind of like some of you guys were like you kind of already knew me because you'd heard the tapes or something, or
Right.
I don't know. It was kind of funny. I had an in already. I felt like I belonged.
It's true.
What? You don't belong here.
What?
You never belonged here.
See, John didn't go to SDSU. He went to the UW.
Yeah, I did go to I went west, young man, and
John was sent to the University of Wyoming with 13 suitcases filled with $100 bills and a nice stash of Peruvian gold dust. But only 3 socks.
as it turns out, my freshman year roommate, by random chance, or maybe not, was one of the kids who was in the McDonald's band from Wyoming.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
What instrument did he play?
He was a
The
trumpet
euphonium? What?
Trumpet.
What? Oh, okay. Is that the same guy that got to meet Witten?
Nope, different guy.
No, never mind. Okay. Well, yeah,
Although
fine.
the guy who we discussed in our last episode, who got to take some lessons from Wynton Marsalis, was also in the McDonald's band, but a different year, like the year after us.
Oh, for Pete's
From
sake.
Mississippi, I think he was from.
It's
Cool.
like some kind of weird mob.
Confluence of something.
Most life events trace back somehow to the McDonald's All-American High School Marching Band.
It does.
I'm only in the periphery here because I know 2 people that went there. I
But
maybe
somehow
evidently
you got involved.
I'm like royalty. No, no, let's take a little break. How's that sound?
Leave it running.
Just let it go.
We all leave it running, and then I just cut out the break.
Let it go. Let it go. Young, get dismembered.
I don't remember the lyrics that way, but...
Oh, hi.
Oh, hello.
Is John still gone?
I think so.
Oh, let's talk about him. Were you roommates with John in the McDonald's band, or how'd that work?
You did have a roommate, but I don't remember.
No, they stuck you with somebody else.
Remember. We might have been roommates on one of the
roommate?
trips.
Oh,
Maybe we didn't have
somebody
roommates.
from
I clearly don't remember. It's been a long time ago, man.
from Puerto Rico. He'll be back eventually.
I believe
He
you.
always comes back.
I was listening to a couple of your episodes, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh no, they were quite entertaining, actually. I was listening to
good,
one on the
good.
train home from work last week, and I was laughing out loud, of course, listening on my headphones, thinking people were probably
No
wondering
laughing.
what I was doing. But
I always loved your laugh. That was, Greg's laugh was the best. So we, and he also can do I don't know if you still can, but he did a really good Chewbacca.
oh yeah, my kids make me do that all the time.
Well, I won't tonight.
Okay.
Although Matt P. is a huge Star Wars fan, and he's one of our listeners, and he might love to hear.
And he went to SDSU.
That's true. Matt Peterson. You didn't know Matt Peterson.
I
though.
did not.
So at SDSU, what was your major? Journalism, right?
Correct.
And you met Stacy through that.
Yeah, so can't remember.
Stacy is Greg's wife.
That's correct. So in like December of '89, if I remember right. Yeah, it would have been December of '89. We both had the same internship back in Washington D.C. There was it was kind of like Associated Press for college newspapers. It was called the USA Today Apple College Information Network, which is a very short and catchy name.
They should have an acronym for that.
Yeah, it was. They did. It was the USATACIN.
That's still too long.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, they would have three college journalists come back to DC and run that wire service for college newspapers for a semester. And so Stacy and I were two of the three. She was there from a little college in Idaho, and I was there from a little college in South Dakota. And then the third guy was a guy from Oklahoma who was married and had a kid, and so his wife and kid were there with him. So Stacy and I, neither one of us knew anyone else in Washington, D.C., so we hung out a lot. The rest, as they say, is history.
Now, so did she come to SDSU at some point?
Yeah, so at the time, the college she was going to was just a junior college, and so she was done there. And so we kind of got together over the course of the internship, and she needed a place to go to school anyway. So she came to South Dakota State, and then there you go.
You're quite the recruiter.
Exactly.
You should have gotten at least a little bit of a discount on your tuition.
Yeah.
But maybe you got a folding alarm clock. I don't know. But I remember when I first saw Greg and Stacy together, or you and Stacy, or you, and I was like, I don't want to get all like whatever romantic here or something, but I just figured maybe there is such a thing as a soulmate. It was weird because you two got together, and it was maybe you would disagree. I don't know, but you wouldn't publicly. On, but there was like this. I was like, what the hell? You guys just would laugh and had so much fun, and maybe you still are. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there you go.
No, she was like no one I had ever met. She was just an amazing person. Still is an amazing person, and I agree. And we became really, really good friends before we were romantically involved, and I think that helped. And and we're still really, really good friends. So that's nice.
That helps, right?
No, I think it's best to because you get that friction that you marry your enemy, and you have that kind of just years of animosity.
Yeah, that's a bad choice.
No, that's not good.
No.
It's a different kind of energy. But actually, I communicate more with Stacy on. I I think I've kept in touch with her better than you actually, but with Facebook.
Well,
and
she's
stuff
a lot
like
more
that.
interesting. Like a lot more interesting. Like levels of
We'll have her on later.
More interesting. If you want an entertaining podcast, you should invite Stacy
Wait,
on.
why did we got the wrong spouse? No,
Yeah, you
no.
really did. I don't know what you were thinking, frankly, but I'm sure you're thinking the same thing right now.
No, I always got a huge kick out of both of you. So you were across the hall from me, and was that Young Hall?
Yep, it was.
Young Hall. Have you been to SDSU since then?
I have. My parents still live in Yankton, so we get back to South Dakota
sure.
like once a year about. And then we had good friends up in Brookings still until a couple of years ago. So we'd go up there, pretty much every summer when we'd be back in Yankton. We'd try and run up and see those friends of ours. And the campus is insanely different now.
No, I was going to say, I have not been there since, but I've heard about it, and I've seen pictures. I'm like, it doesn't even look the same.
It's nuts. You know how it used to have a lot of empty space, which was really good so that the wind chill could really get bad. Now they've got like twice as many buildings, so it's probably not even cold there anymore.
Oh, it gets through the tunnels. Because when I used to work downtown Minneapolis, that wind would whip through the alleys, and then you'd get that kind of urine smell. No, maybe
nice.
not so much. Maybe not so much at USD or USD.
That's not allowed in South Dakota.
UDSDA, no, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So then you had a journalism degree.
Yes.
And you went to work for the Desert Storm.
Very close. So
Star?
I worked for the Brookings Daily Register while Stacy finished her degree. And then in the middle of that time also was when we went over to Wales, because I went to Cardiff with a scholarship and got my master's degree from the University of Cardiff there in Wales.
What the heck? I don't know anyone.
In 92, 93. And then
That's
came back.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great. And then Stacy graduated in 95. And then she's from the West and she wanted to come back West. So we looked around for jobs in like Colorado and Utah, and we ended up in Ogden, Utah. We both got jobs at the newspaper there, the Standard Examiner.
Not a recommended name for a proctologist.
And then we started having little rugrats, and so she moved to freelancing, and I got a job at the Deseret News.
What?
Deseret.
Deseret.
News. Yes.
Deseret. What's that?
Utah,
Is that French for dessert?
Yes, it is actually. No, when Utah was a territory, it was the territory of Deseret, which is a term that means honeybee or something like that. I don't know.
I'm learning so much today about McDonald's and this. That's really cool.
And the state of Utah. I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah, there are people here, and and we all eat honey, I guess. I don't know, but so I was at the Deseret News for like 13 and a half years. And then left there about 9 years ago, and left journalism because journalism was getting to be not a great career move anymore. And so I've worked for a couple different places since then, and there you go.
It's all those internet things.
Yeah, the interwebs really messed things up.
Yep.
But you had a cool name, Deseret.
Tubes.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was just desert. I'm sorry. What? Because you'd repost or something some of your articles, and I'd read them, but I didn't know it was Deseret.
Yeah, most people who aren't from here would say desert or Deseret.
Deseret.
Deseret News.
They just spell stuff differently out there.
That's right. There's a town in Utah that's spelled Mantua. So how do you think you'd pronounce that?
Mantua.
Manta?
It's named after Mantua.
Oh.
But it's pronounced Manaway.
Mantua. What?
It's pronounced Manaway.
Oh, I was going with Mantua to kind of do that John and Oates. No, not John. Hall and Oates. Man-eater. Mantua. That was the old, the original version was Mantua.
Oh,
I never heard that version.
From the state that has Pierres.
I know.
So
that's true. Pierres.
No.
And that drives my wife crazy as much as anything about. She goes, She says, it's named after a French guy named
Right.
Pierre. And I'm like, right. And it's pronounced Pierre.
Pierre, like on the side of the water.
Exactly.
A jury of your Pierres. Messed up, man. It really is.
But probably not as bad as Belle Fouche.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, because that
Belle
looks like
Stinkin' Fouche,
Forche.
Yeah.
Belle Fouche.
Fouche? Yeah.
No, that's
Well,
pronounced
South Dakotans, they
Belle
just
Fouche.
kind of... There. It was French, but now it's this.
Right.
Yeah, Wisconsin's got some interesting city names,
instead
too.
of changing the name, they just mangled its pronunciation.
It's easier.
Yeah, it's somewhat passive aggressive, but it's okay.
Now, going back to what we were talking about before, that handout thing that I got also talked to the Puerto Ricans about what not to talk about to the South Dakotans. And one of the things was, yes, we all have running water. And I did you run? So you ran into that with riding the buffaloes, but for some reason I don't think that's a thing anymore. But they would like, evidently people thought from out east, or maybe even in Puerto Rico, which is that really far east? I don't know. It's like in Israel. No, but it's Middle East. No, sorry,
Bill
everybody.
was a geography major.
No. It was theater. Close. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that.
He needed to do West Side Story a few more times.
I've never been in that.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
You can't really blame people for thinking that about South Dakota, though, because my mom, I think of her. She grew up on a farm in South Dakota, and this is just one generation older than me, right? And she went to a one-room schoolhouse. She didn't have running water or electricity as a kid. So, I mean, it's not so far in the past.
Good point. Mm-hmm. But we all have running water now. Maybe not all of us, because some us, I'm not there anymore. Them, some of them don't pay their water bills because they're on meth or something, I guess. But
they're all.
Did you hear? Did you heard that?
Oh, I loved it.
Great. We're on it.
Another in a long string of horrible slogans. My favorite was back when the slogan for the state fair was "Take in the big one."
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah,
somebody's doing this on purpose, because there was another one. I think your wife pointed it out on Facebook.
She did. Uh-huh.
She reminded me of that one. It was don't jerk and drive.
Right, that one. And then the state slogan at one time was, great faces, great places. Mm-hmm. And they had a commercial where the guy doing the voiceover said, "Put your great face in our great place."
It was Burgess Meredith.
It was
probably,
Burgess Meredith. Yes, it was.
Was it? Okay,
it was absolutely.
And then they cut to the the American Indian guy crying.
No, that was a different ad.
No, I can dream.
That would be a super edit.
Well, quickly, Phil, what do you got to drink tonight?
I made a mistake.
That's not a drink.
I accidentally put. We usually do this at the beginning of the episode.
Let's see.
Matt P is going to be so upset.
He's an originalist. So.
I put some Buffalo Trace in the glass that I already had some Jim Beam Ryan. So I made my own blend, I guess. I'm going to call it Buffalo Rye in honor of this episode with the people riding up buffaloes. We're writing episodes.
That's inspired, right? Oh,
what are you drinking, John?
I finally opened my bottle of 45th Parallel. What's that one we there? It's the bourbon that's aged in port barrel. That's right.
I'm not helping. I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
John was aged in a port barrel.
I sure sound like I was. No. Yeah, no, it's very nice. Quite sweet.
What's it called?
Rankin
Rock?
It's the Border Bourbon.
Oh.
Port barrel
All right.
aged. It's that one I picked up when we did the distillery tour, which you may recall.
Oh, yes. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of the different distillery. I got my distilleries mixed up. And Greg, you're having some lemonade?
Yes, a Minute Maid Light.
Minute Maid Light. What's the was it barrel aged, or what's the age statement on that one?
Milk jug aged.
Looks like it's canned under authority of the Coca-Cola Company. So
that's good.
That's a pretty powerful authority, really. I think they have like shock troops and stuff.
Coke troops.
That's all done correctly. But yeah, that's what I've got.
We've secretly replaced Greg's Minute Maid Lemonade with Sleepy Time Lemonade. Sleepy Time Lemonade, brought to you by the Sleepy Time Lemonade Corporation in Pierres, South Dakota.
Oh, it just says here it contains pure filtered water.
Pure.
So I got that.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah.
I love the one. I see this more at fountain pop areas, but they'll have some juice-like beverage, and there'll be this sticker on it that says contains 0% juice. And I was like, why is that there? I just don't understand the logic of why
people,
they need to tell you.
You don't want to mislead people.
Because I really don't want any juice.
No, you don't.
No,
You're anti-juice.
No, I love juice.
John hates juice.
I just don't know why it's there.
I'm just seeing if there's any kind of. Oh, this has 3% lemon juice, so I'm getting a little juice. I'm getting a little juiced.
Even Mountain Dew has juice.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of juice?
Orange juice, I think.
What?
Really?
Check the label sometime.
Well, I've heard that Dr.
That's
Pepper
the Diet
has.
Pop I enjoy the most when I have it, and it has a scant amount of orange juice in it.
So it's a health drink then.
It really is that, along with all the chemicals.
Chemicals.
It's true.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
I heard that Dr. Pepper had beet juice in it, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I always thought it was prune.
Oh, maybe it's prune.
Well,
Never
it
mind.
tastes a little bit like prune.
No, I think you're right. I think that's what I had heard, but then I forgot what I heard. We're at that age. We're all 52. I don't know. How old are you, Greg? You're 52,
50.
aren't you?
I'm just 50.
You're 50? You were kind of young.
You're a young'un.
Yeah, I'm just a wee bab.
How did I go to college with you?
And perhaps perhaps you were held back in the younger grades. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Rapid City's a year behind. That's what it is.
Well, it was a different time zone.
It's true.
It was we're all a year behind.
So I was born in 69, so you must have been born in 67.
Oh, 68.
68.
But I was born at the very end of 68. In December even.
Yeah, and I was born in May of 69, so...
No, I don't know. Math is not I was not a math major.
Nor was I. That's the whole reason I went into journalism was because I didn't want to take math. And it worked really well until, the news media collapsed.
Well,
I couldn't
morph.
foresee
and look where I am. So.
You need to be a talking head, Greg. Get on one of those gigs. Get on one of those TV shows. And hi, I'm Greg Kratz, and I'm going to talk about how this shouldn't have happened, and that should have, and then that should be over there. No.
No, I decline. Nice offer, though. I appreciate it, but
I didn't really have a job, but
Phil, when you start your news network, you can hire Greg as a contributor. I think.
Wouldn't that be terrible to have a news network?
It really would.
Yeah, that's the best thing. Let's start a new news network. Good idea.
PNN, Phil News Network.
I'll just stick with the Onion.
Fair and unbalanced. Yes.
Desiree. Is that still going?
Yeah.
They folded up after you left.
No, I thought they would, but strangely, apparently it was not based entirely on me. So yeah, it's still running.
That's good in a way.
I guess. I mean, they say journalism's important, I guess, but
yeah, it's all local. Local news is important.
Well, it has to adapt, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And I don't think anybody really knows how to do that, so instead everything just dies.
There's a guy. There's a guy I live in West St. Paul, Minnesota, and there's a guy that's doing a digital, of course, but news thing. But he is really in depth. I mean, he goes to all the city council meetings, and he'll have the notes, and he's I don't know, it's pretty cool, but it's very local. But I think he's like, I don't know how it's funded. I think he has a Patron. Is that the right, how do you pronounce it?
Patron.
Patron
is a liquor.
Pier.
Yeah, as you say, in South Dakota, I think you would pronounce it, Putrani or something like that.
Yeah.
Patron.
Patreoni.
I got a Patron dish.
I think that's one of the few valuable things about local TV news is the way that you can get local news from it, and I think that's one of the things that it kind of allows it to hold on. But at some point, something needs to replace that.
Yeah, I miss the business sometimes. To be honest, I mean it's exciting at times, when there was breaking news stories and it's fun talking to people. Yeah, there are parts of it that were horrible though. Like when I worked for the Register in Brookings, one of the things they'd have us do about once a week is someone would have to go out and do man on the street interviews. I was actually just talking to Stacy about this. So a reporter and a photographer would have to go out and ask some inane question to people who didn't want to be in the newspaper and convince them to give you an answer and get their picture taken. And we called it Register Reactions. And it would be like, do you think the president is a moron? And they'd have to give us a 2-sentence answer that was stupid. And that was just the worst. I was saying to Stacy just the other day, I was like, I don't think I could do that anymore. I don't think I could just go up to someone who I know hates me just by looking at me and ask them a totally stupid question and try and convince them to let me put it in the newspaper.
You might get punched nowadays.
I think I probably would, because of that whole fake news thing. Fake news, they'd say, and they'd punch me.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't publish it, and they'd get mad at you for that.
That's true.
Hey, you didn't publish it. No, one of my favorite things, like on SCTV, was the Man on the News. Earl Cannonbear would go to, let's get the pulse of the city of whatever they were. I don't know. That was funny. But yeah,
or even the way Letterman used to do those.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Letterman.
No, there's a lot of comic gold in that kind of a setup.
If he had to do it for real, though, I don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're not doing it for comedy, it's more tragic.
Right. It's a real drag.
Well, that was funny.
I think
but
everybody
we can't
comes out pretty unhappy.
Yeah, it's true. The photographer's bummed because he's taking basically 4 glorified mugshots. The reporter's bummed because he's got a stupid question. And for us, we would always go to the Brookings Mall, which was a death march. So you'd be walking up and down the mall trying to find some poor sucker who you thought would answer your question, and it was brutal.
The Brookings Mall, I remember that.
Yeah.
We'd go to that arcade. I think it had 4 games.
Yeah. Good times.
Oh, I bet it wasn't worse than the Rapid City. The Rushmore Mall.
It was.
Which is almost dead, but it hangs on inexplicably.
The Brookings Mall was kind of like a smaller version of what Harmar Mall was in its later years.
So one long hall. It was kind of like Central High School. Which Greg probably won't get, but imagine a high school that is actually the same layout as a shopping mall.
Oh, really?
One big long hall with some anchor store departments like music or sports.
English.
It really actually kind of was that. I never thought about it, but it was. I bet somebody went. So Southdale, which is a shopping mall here in the Twin Cities, is one of the very first ever built in the nation. And I wonder if the architects who designed Rapid City Central High School
The same architect.
visited that in the 1970s when it was built and decided, hey, let's make a school.
Maybe it was the same architecture firm, because the people that came up with the meth we're on it campaign were from Minnesota.
It's all connected. See, my brother Bruce will probably have an answer to this. We'll check in with him. Actually, as a sneak peek, probably on our next episode, we're going to have some location work that Bruce and I did in Rapid City in some of the schools.
Well, now they have a big school referendum coming up, and I think the last time they had one was 40 years ago. So you can only imagine what condition the schools are in.
That's because your old junior high is falling apart, right?
You didn't go to South Junior High?
We did not go to that one.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
have to wait and see where we went.
I don't remember it being that great back then either.
I don't think it was.
Well,
I don't know about Yankton, but
what was Yankton High School when I went there is now the middle school. What was the middle school I went to is now like an assisted living facility, and there's, well, to me, a brand new high school, and it's probably been there 10 years now, but yeah,
it's already outdated.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I don't keep in great touch about the South Dakota school system, but they haven't kept up with stuff. It's sad.
Yeah.
They deferred maintenance. I'm guessing they have a deferred maintenance budget of billions of
just
dollars.
Like the school I work for.
Yeah. Well, even the U has that.
Everybody's got some of that.
Well,
I bet, Phil, your home probably has some deferred maintenance.
That's true.
My home is deferred maintenance. It's just because I can't do any maintenance, and so everything gets deferred.
I've learned some things over the years. I'm not saying I'm like an expert, but I'm like, I'll figure that out.
Come over and fix my toilet.
There are certain things that I will not try to do, and that's like electrical work. I'm not going to get into that. No, I replaced some outlets. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like Mr. Goodwrench compared to me.
Mr. Goodwrench.
Is that the guy that? No, that was the Michelin Man. Never mind.
That was Sears.
Well,
I believe.
remember those catalogs? Let's talk about catalogs. No. The wish list. The wish list.
The wish book.
The wish book, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember going to the pages with the ladies in brassieres. That was exciting.
Phil was a little bit ahead of everybody else.
I was. But that was pre-internet, so what are you going to do? Well, all right. Let's just... what?
Quick piece of follow-up to a previous talk with our listener, Paul S. We talked about home barbecue equipment.
A smoker?
Yep, and I got to actually sample some of his pulled pork that he made on his pellet machine, and it was outstanding.
Wow.
It really inspired me to spend way too much money buying one of those things.
Have you gotten a smoker yet?
No. Well, I can't really get it in my yard because it's got 3 feet of snow in it right now. But
not now. You could make a smoker in the basement.
I do have a small room in my basement that used to have a well.
I was going to say, that would be great for... you have to make a chimney or something.
That sounds very Silent
I'm sure it would
Lambsy.
never stink up my house. There you go. Home smokers.
Fava beans.
It puts an ocean on its skin whenever it's told.
Yeah. Well, Phil, have you watched or seen anything lately? Did you see Star Wars?
No, I still haven't gone to it. Did you go?
The new one. I might try and go to it in the next few days, but no.
I should too. There. I don't know why I haven't yet.
I've seen it twice.
My kids are just not... My kids are kind of... Well, no, in the old days, I would have been... We stood in line for hours to see the Star Wars movie on the 8th time. But my kids aren't that interested in it. I don't know. There's much more media to compete with, I guess.
Go without them.
I might.
Yeah,
I kind of feel
it would
obligated.
be a little weird to not see the final one of that set.
No, I'll go.
Not see that in the theater.
You guys should go.
I'll probably drag him. No, I was just looking at the trailer and I was crying. I was like, maybe I'm not gonna go because I'll bring some Kleenexes.
You should.
I'm comfortable with my.
It's such a part of the culture
emotions.
in our background. You got to go.
I guess Disney isn't going to do any more of the trilogies, though. That's it.
No, but they'll keep milking that cash cow till it's dead, though.
I know, but the trilogy thing is I don't know. Maybe they're wrong.
In another week, the latest Star Trek series comes out, so I have to watch that.
Oh yeah,
is that Picard?
Really
yeah, I hope it is.
Oh, it almost makes me want to get CBS All Access or whatever
I know.
it is.
I was thinking that too, but I'm just like, I just can't do yet another streaming service.
Oh my God.
It's really out of control, and they just announced another. Our Comcast overlords announced another one called Peacock.
Oh man,
which just
is that
makes
NBC?
Me laugh.
What is that? NBC used to have.
Yeah,
it's
NBC Universal stuff.
Oh. They're trying to compete with Disney Plus.
Well, all the corporate media overlords have to have their own service so they can exploit their libraries, as they say.
Oh no! I love to exploit my libraries. That doesn't sound right.
That sounds terrible.
It really doesn't.
I like to check out a book and then never return it.
And when you check out a book, you really check out the book. If you know what I mean.
Books check in, they don't check out. Sorry, Roach Motel. There's our song.
Okay.
Roach Motels. The Lazy Hugh Roach Motel.
No, we had no roaches at the Lazy Hugh Motel. Oh,
I'm sorry, I keep besmirching your former motel.
Well,
that's sad.
We weren't as lazy as the moniker.
No. Actually, the reason I dig at it all the time is because I'm still bitter that they took away the old sign.
Oh, that wasn't me. I had nothing to do with.
Oh,
that.
I know. It's not your fault. It was
no. They should have kept the old sign
with the little neon U leaning to the side.
Lean. Yeah. No, I had to go back in a different room to turn that switch, and it was it was cool. It was a good sign. I wonder where that sign ever ended up. It's probably in the Rapid City dump. All right, well, fine. I think that's about it.
Greg,
so that's how it ends.
Great having you on the show.
we have kind of weird endings and beginnings, but every beginning is an ending, and every ending is a beginning.
Wow, that is really, really cliche. I mean, deep.
And the love you make is greater than the love you do something.
Steal?
Yeah. I don't know.
Those Beatles.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this, gentlemen. This has been a lot of fun for me, so thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for being on.
And
we'll see how God bless America.
Out, right?
Well, it'll be.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be your lowest rated podcast ever.
Wrong.
Here's the song.
Greg was born in Yankton Town, but there wasn't much to see. So we went to NYC to play Euphonium in the big city. Greg went wandering. He marched round in a funny hat, but pretty soon he had enough of that. So he headed to Brookings Town, and pretty soon he was DC bound. Greg went wandering. It was there he met a pretty lady, and he said, would you come to Brookings with me? And pretty soon they both had a degree, and she said, would you come to Utah with me? They went a wandering. And now the wandering euphoniums, come on
boys wander. They went wandering